Well, it's been an incredible journey this season for Arsenal, but it wasn't the twist they were hoping for today. It's the celebrations in the Brighton dressing room that are there for all to see. Their fourth win in their last 5 visits to the Emirates. Only the second team all season in the Premier League to win at the home of Arsenal. They've won by 3 goals to 0. All the reaction to that and, of course, the title race to come. Just a quick word on Brighton. I mean, they're into the top 6. The way they've played this season, losing their manager, losing a star defender. I mean, do they deserve Europa League football for you?
Yeah, 100%. I think if you watch them, especially in that game, how hard they worked, how they worked together. If one player was out, how the other player would fill in. Because at times you saw the left back on the right-hand side attacking, but they never feel uncomfortable. And that takes a lot of an understanding of where you are on the pitch, what players are out of position, and to recognise those things and make sure those gaps are filled. And I think De Zerbi, the tactic he went to Emirates with was perfect. He upset the rhythm of play as much as they possibly can. They played aggressively. They took chances at times, as Dad said at half-time. But ultimately, when they needed to hit it long, they stretched the game as well. And they never really ever underhit that long ball. It was always overhit to give the attacker time to get onto it or turn it into a good ball. And every time they did, they just looked really, really dangerous with it.
Only the top 2 have won more away games this season in the Premier League. But in terms of them having more energy than Arsenal, did that have anything to do with City's result beforehand? Did that deflate the Arsenal players, do you think, Righty, a little bit?
I wouldn't like to think that would be any kind of excuse for them to not.
No, but a small factor.
There's no way it's not going to be on your mind that City beat them and beat them comfortably. Of course, when you're coming out, like Mikel Arteta said, we know what we have to do. We've had to win all those games. And like I say, the Brighton game was always a game what was going to be a little bit of a banana skin, what we saw. And today, like Sean rightly said, the way they set up for Arsenal to press them, and then they go long. And if Arsenal, when Arsenal was stretched because they'd gone long, then they passed it through. And then you had one-on-ones. Mitoma gave Ben White as big a roasting I've seen a player get for a long time, especially Ben White, who's been playing well this season. And the midfield, in and around, the front men, the midfield, everything was, we just couldn't get it going. We couldn't get it going. Ødegaard couldn't get in the game. Even Jorginho was struggling to get in the game the way Brighton pressed and just made everything so uncomfortable. They've got to get a lot of credit for stopping Arsenal. But at the same time, it's just that game too far for them with the way that Brighton came, so tactically aware and ready. And we just couldn't get over that hurdle.
Let's have a look at the goals then. 6 minutes into the second half. Before Enciso puts this in, Jakub Kiwior.
Yeah.
What did you make of this?
Well, at first I thought, he's obviously got to go. You look at this is what we're talking about with the long ball. Look where this ball's coming from. That is what they've done to us. Look how stretched we are. Look where that ball's gone, right into their final third. And once we get into this situation, now, you want to get tighter to him, but he's been brilliant all game. When the overlap's good, and then that's where it happens there. Now, I was thinking, oh my gosh, there's something drastically wrong with him because he's stopped, he's gone down, so he will not be able to play on because I've never seen this before, Steve, with all due respect to him. Because if you're bad, then you go off. But if you know you're going to be able to play on, yes, he's stepped on his foot there, but like the boots come off. I get that. But now you go and you mark and then you deal with it. Because let's face it, he's able to play on. So that foul cannot be bad enough for him to completely go on his knees and the guy have a free header. So that one was, for me, that's a goal that should not have happened.
I totally have to agree. I was honestly really surprised that it even happened. I think from a young age, it doesn't matter what country you've played in, what league you've played in, what team you're in, you're always taught that until the whistle goes, you do not stop playing. So for me, all he has to do is stand up. If he stands up, I think he clears the ball.
Yeah.
But because he's down, it just bounces into that space.
The thing with it, Sean, is that when you see it, it's not a scrape, it's not a bad foul. Yes, he's caught him on the boot, and look, he's caught the boot. It's not his ankle, so he's just scraped the boot off. And now, this is like you say, we're always taught you play to the whistle, you play to the end. I remember watching not long ago, I remember Christian Pulisic pull his hamstring and still went another 3 steps to make sure that he could pass the ball off. That's natural in you. So to see him to go down like that was really, really surprising. I thought that he had a really bad injury. But the fact that he could carry on says to me that he should have been able to see that little bit of phase of the play out and then sort out the boot and sort out what you're doing.
Trossard did come on in the first half for Martinelli against his former club. What did he do wrong in the build-up to the second goal?
You want to talk?
Can start,
Well, the thing about it is that we are going to try and play out. And when you look at him here, he's got the time. That is a difficult thing. He's trying to play that around the corner into his teammate with the outside of his left foot. For me, I think he needs to either take that on the right foot and come into this space over to his right, keep control of the ball. Because the way the defender, the way the guy's closing him down, the way he's come in, he's kind of gone to that side, Sean, because he knows that he might want to turn it round the corner. Trossard has to read the situation. He's got enough space on his right foot to then turn out to his right and then maybe play it to Kieran Tierney and then get the move going. That was just somebody who's come off the bench. He's not maybe, I don't know if he's up to speed with the game or whether he cares enough at that particular moment, because the way he flicked his left foot out of that was not right at that phase of the, look at that, at that stage of the game, in that phase of the pitch.
It's just a great finish from Undav, but I just feel like that if he uses his right foot, I understand he can't get it to Nketiah because, like you said, he stepped across. But worst case scenario, he hooks it round the corner to say Saka. Do you know what I mean? So for me, he's got your option and that option. He knows he's there. So for me, it has to pick one of them.
The main thing, Sean, is you can't give the ball away there.
Like
you can't lose the ball there.
Not like
especially in the manner he gave the ball away there, because the way the left foot just came out, it's almost flippant. Look,
he can't get it around him.
You can't do that. You've got to make sure that ball, if you're going to do it like Sean says, get it right round the corner or control it, move it to the right. But that there is you're not getting away with that. You're not getting away with that, and we didn't, unfortunately, in a game that we needed to be at it. We weren't quite at it.
Yeah, and Undav had been on the pitch less than 4 minutes, 3 goals in 4 games now for the German. And then right deep into stoppage time, Estepinian scored his first goal for Brighton to finish it off, guys.
Well, you look at this and you see it being held off there, Kiwior being held off there. Now what you want to see is get yourself back. Get yourself back. Like there he's had a little... Now, for me, you've got to be getting back. Get yourself back. Look at him. This is
not 1 point.
He's got to be sprinting to get back in there to stop this. This is too easy. This is too easy when you look at it. You know, Ben White obviously pulled out of position. Kiwior's over that side. He has a go to try and close down, and then once it doesn't happen, he kind of gets body checked. He kind of gives up on it. And, you know, I'd say maybe that's the inexperience of playing at this level in this league. Obviously, you know, with Saliba out and him coming in at this stage of the season, it's a massive for him to come in at such a pressurised time of the season. And when you look at stuff like that, it just makes me see, yeah, maybe, you know what I mean, he's coming a bit early simply because of those instances. You see that he's somebody that, from a footballing point of view, he's a very good player. I think we've got a very good player there. Obviously, he's going to have to bulk up a bit. And then, you know, those kind of mistakes you can't make. And
is that just the squad depth? When we've said all along, when you're looking at Manchester City and earlier on, the 4 changes they made, left De Bruyne and Grealish, Atal on the bench.
Yeah, I did. It takes time to build that squad depth. I think what Arsenal have done...
What, like City?
Yeah, but I'm saying what Arsenal have done in general is he thinks I'm having a dig, doesn't it?
I'm not. City could afford to do it.
I'm not going to comment on that. I think what Arsenal have done, I think has been enormous. It's been amazing. It's been a fantastic season for them. I think nobody believed or assumed this season this was going to happen between Arsenal and Manchester City. It's happened, and they've taken it even further than people thought. They're ahead of the game. They didn't think they was going to be fighting to win the Premier League this year. They wanted to play.
But when you're in front and on top for so long, with 8-point leads at one stage, I get what Sean's saying, but the Arsenal fans have been teased, haven't they, there?
You kind of had to look at the sweet shop, but then they closed it. It's that kind of vibe with the Arsenal
I've seen you when they do that.
I know, but the thing is that I felt for them. I felt for them today because you saw them leave, which was quite sad to see. There's a lot of them leaving at 2-0, and then obviously at 3-0.
What did you make of that?
A bit disappointed simply because this team, and what we learned from last season when we lost to Newcastle, when we could have got into the Champions League, and the season we had off of the back of that disappointment, you can see that the disappointment we're having this season can lead to there. You can see it. The disappointment we're having this season can lead to hopefully even better things. I would like them to have been in there to kind of let the lads know, listen, unlucky. You know what I mean? They've been with us all through the season. And so when the second goal goes in, obviously it's a massive disappointment because we know how important it was to win the game. But at the same time, the guys have done magnificently this season. They've done unbelievably. And it would have been quite for them to see the empty seats just appearing like that. It would have been quite sad for them because they've taken Manchester City, arguably one of the best Premier League teams ever, to the last 3 games. And it's not over, but they've taken them there. And yes, it's disappointing that Brighton have beaten us like they did, and deservedly beat us because they're a much better side. But I think that the players and what they've done up to this point, they deserved a little bit more than the fans leaving them like that.
OK, we will talk Arsenal more and more, but of course it's been a brilliant, as we've said, day for Brighton. 8 away wins, 4 wins in 5 visits to the Emirates Stadium. Clean sheet as well. That will please Jason Steele, the goalkeeper who's waiting to talk to us live now. Jason, good to see you. Well done. How impressive, how delighted are you with that response after Monday?
Yeah, I think it was massive for us today to get the win and to perform like that, really. I think Monday was a result that sometimes you just can't put your finger on. And I think we made sure we fought really hard today, played with passion, with hunger, and that was the most important thing today.
I just wonder, we've seen this manager of yours, all these different techniques all season. What did he do? What did he say in terms of bouncing back today?
Well, he's a really passionate guy and full of charisma and massive heart. And I think he showed us a few videos yesterday just to make sure we have that mentality, you know, of being able to push game after game after game. And I think that's where we have to improve and take it to another level. I think we're all still learning about winning consistently in this league, and that's something that we have to keep improving.
Are you able to share with us what video?
Yeah, he showed us a video of Michael Jordan last night about how he, first and foremost, his motivation was passion and love for the game, and after that it was about how he trains, how he motivates himself. And you know, 5-1 at home on Everton wasn't a nice feeling, you know, but I think we answered some questions today.
You know, I wanted to ask you, Jason, Ian right here. Congratulations, Jason. Well played today, my friend. Some of your distribution was unbelievable. I just wanted to know from you, from the boss, was that something you worked on, going long and then opening up the pitch and then driving through us as well? Because like we didn't know what you were going to do. We couldn't deal with you, and then obviously the one-on-ones with Toma. Was that something you planned?
Yeah, I think it's all about understanding what the other team are doing. If they go man-to-man, then we know that there's space in behind, and it's about being brave, sort of picking pictures. The gaffer likes to talk about taking photographs, you know, and that's part of my responsibility, you know, and understanding what the other team are doing and trying to find the best solutions.
Is that something you work on? Because only 2 more players in the whole game made more passes than you today.
Yeah, definitely. We work on it daily, you know. We hold a lot of meetings and we work on our distribution a lot. I think, listen, the modern game and the way that the game goes, obviously with certain managers, you have to be comfortable under pressure, and I think that's what we're improving, and hopefully we can keep going.
Jason, can I just congratulate you on the first half like volley pass out to the left-hand side, my friend. That was gorgeous.
Thank you. Listen, I'm not sure that was part of the plan off the manager. You just got to take it.
And only the second keeper this season to keep a clean sheet at the Emirates. That's how difficult it is against this Arsenal team.
Yeah, listen, you can say we played really well today, but we still had to suffer in some moments, and I think we did that really well. And you've got to enjoy that a little bit, I think. But when you come to places like this, they're fighting for the league, you know you're going to suffer, but can you enjoy that, digging in together? And I think we did that today.
And just finally, into sixth, 2 games in hand on Spurs and Villa, 4 to play. You've got to enjoy this situation you've put yourselves in, haven't you?
Yeah, listen, speaking personally, like, I've definitely experienced the other side of it, relegation and the stress and the anxiety that brings. So if we can't enjoy this, then we're in the wrong sport, aren't we?
Good luck for the last 4 games. Really well played today. Thank you very much indeed.
Well done, mate.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
That is Jason Steele live from the Emirates, beaming at the Brighton story. The other side, despair for Arsenal today. Here's their captain, Martin Ødegaard.
Martin, it's not there mathematically, but that feel like the title's gone.
Yeah, it feels like that. I think it's going to be very difficult now, we have to be honest. So yeah, it's a tough one to take.
Just how flat are you and that Arsenal dressing room?
No, it's not a good feeling at the moment. I think the way we played, especially in the second half, was I don't know what happened, to be honest, but big disappointment, and yeah, it feels like it's no hope now.
It's hard to put your finger on it, as you say, but any thoughts on what was missing today?
No, I'm not sure. I think in the first half we do a lot of good things. We have some moments where we can create some big chances, maybe score a goal or 2, and then in the second half we give them more and more momentum. They're dangerous when they go direct there, especially on our right side. They attacked us there a bit too easy in behind, I felt like at times, but I don't know, it's hard to say at the moment, but a lot of things we could have done better.
After some poor results, it looked as though you'd turned the corner, beating Chelsea, that fabulous win against Newcastle United. Did that come as a surprise to you, that performance today?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to come here and continue like we've done in the last 2 games and get another good result and keep pushing. You know, that was the target, and that's what we wanted to do. But I don't have any good answers at the moment to tell you what happened, but big disappointment.
Do you think mentality was a problem at all today, knowing that you had to win?
No, I don't think so. I felt like we were, good going into the game, and but in the game was a different story, and we have to accept that and learn from it, and that's all now.
Can you empathise with his body language? He doesn't really have any answers at the moment.
Yeah, I can. For a young team, a young captain, still trying to experience what it's like to chase down a great team like Manchester City and seeing what it takes. And that's why Man City is as great as they are. They know what it takes. We're still learning. We're still trying to get there. But it's obviously very disappointing. But like I say, we learned from last season's disappointment at Newcastle. He played it to them for the Newcastle game to give them the buzz, like we saw what De Zerbi done with the Michael Jordan. And hopefully, but next season, if need be, they can play this video to the guys so as they can see, because it's a learning process, it's a journey. And, you know, they've got to get themselves up. They've got to get their chins up and go again.
What do you think they will learn, particularly from the last couple of weeks, the highs and the lows they've had?
I think a lot. I think there's a lot to take from this journey that they've already taken. I think if you listen to what Gundogan said earlier in the day on the VT, he said they've been down this road before. They have the experience. I think this is part of the Gunners' learning experience. Now the next time they come here, they know what it takes. They know what to do to keep putting those wins and points on the board. And that, for me, is all a matter of it is. It's just growing with the bad experiences that you get, because it makes you used to certain situations. It helps you on and off the pitch, personally. And it's something they need. So.
Absolutely, Sean. But you get to a certain stage in the season where everybody, you know, it was those 3 games, those 3 games. And the fact that City is so good that it was 3 draws and it's still, you felt like that's going to cost you. It's Arsenal have got to get back to those situations, back in that stage of the season, being at the top of the league or challenging for the league, and realise what you have to do to make sure you win those games. There was games where City were winning and playing well this season where, you know, it was 1-0. You know, you see Palace, they get it done. They make sure that in the games that they need to win, they win. And that is what Arsenal will learn as time goes by, because they've had the experience of this season of seeing games that they should have won that they haven't. And ultimately, you have to say it's cost them maybe winning the league this year. So they'll learn that.
Yeah, let's have a look at that results, because remember, going into the Liverpool game, they had the opportunity to go 8 points clear after those 3 wins against Fulham, Palace and Leeds. And you were right earlier on. Those 4 games in a row, Liverpool, West Ham, Southampton, City, that's where the grip loosened.
You have to feel that in those games, especially the Liverpool. Before those games, you look at the results, 3-0, 4-1, 4-1. So you got Liverpool and you're thinking, this is going to be a tough game, so hopefully we're ready for it. We're 2-0 up in the game. And then we end up drawing that one 2-2. West Ham, 2-0 up, comfortable, we miss a penalty. To maybe go to a 3-1. We missed that. Then we end up drawing that game. And then, obviously, the Southampton game was the one what really we think, what is going on? We can't get it going. We can't seem to finish this off. We can't grasp how important this is. And we drew those 3 games. And it was a game culminating with Man City where we knew that we had to go to Man City with some form of cushion, because there was a good chance that they were going to beat us. And it was, for me, one of the best I've seen Man City play as well. They were absolutely brilliant in that game against us. And we needed, in those 3 games, before those games came up, Steve, I was thinking, I'd take 7 points out of that. 7. I would have taken a draw out of Liverpool before and then beat West Ham, beat Southampton. I would have taken 7 points, especially when you look at what we was doing leading in. And in the end, those 3 games, it didn't work out for us. And then obviously losing against City, and then we're chasing. And City are now getting into a place. They're just pulling up into the place where they know how to navigate this part of the season.
Is that the point, Sean? In a lot of Premier League seasons gone by, against other opposition and with Arsenal's points tally, this would be far from a disaster. It's just that they're up against one of the best teams we've ever seen.
Yeah, I think if you're winning the league with an average points of 92 plus, that's setting a high standard for anybody chasing them. On a normal season, if somebody draws three games, you expect City are going to drop points somewhere along the line. Maybe 1 or 2 points to keep the gap relatively close. But at this time, City are just winning.
At the moment, they're just fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, you would not put it past them. You know, like I say, I will never say that this is over until it's mathematically done. But you would not put it past them to get the treble because they're so good. You know, 4 changes today, you would think it was seamless. Their team are very well drilled. Everybody is focused. Everybody knows exactly what they've got to do at this stage of the season. And they're in a different place. They're actually not even hearing any noise or seeing anything. They're coming, they're doing their job. They're getting back on the coach. They're getting back in the training ground, come out and do their job. That's where they are at the moment. And that is what Arsenal will learn how to do. You blank out the noise. You blank out who's injured, what's happening. You just blank going onto the pitch and beating teams however you can. That's what you got to do. You 2-0 up, you got to make sure that you don't draw that game, especially away from home. You have to win those games. You go away from home, 2-0 up, when you're going to try and win a league, you cannot. You have to manage that game better. And those are the things that this team will learn. And I'm quite confident that they will.
And just on the points tally, you won't remember this, I wouldn't expect you to, but when you win the Premier League with Arsenal, 78 points.
78 points.
That's what won it.
Still won the league.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Yeah, we still won it.
You had to put that in there, didn't you?
Well, yeah.
Here are the thoughts of Mikel Arteta.
Mikel, what's your assessment of that performance result and what it means now in terms of the league title?
A week away from here, I was standing here and feeling proud, and that's the feeling that we had. And today we have to apologise because the performance that we had in the second half is not acceptable.
We'll come to the actual performance itself, but as far as you're concerned, although not mathematically yet, do you think that's it, the title gone?
Mathematically, it's still possible, and this is football. But today is impossible to be thinking about it. We have to first digest the result, the performance that we had in the second half, and understand why, and obviously have a very different reaction the next game.
If it's painful to concede that the title's gone, even though it's mathematically possible, as you said, is it the way that it was surrendered that is so hurtful?
Yes, because the first half we knew that the way they played, they made the game really competitive. I think there were 30 fouls in the game. Very difficult to get any long sequences of play to get set in the final third. They had a lot of issues as well. They gave the ball away a lot in their own half, and we could have really capitalized in the first half in 6 occasions, I think, and we didn't. And then we concede a goal when they are really directing behind and concede the goal, and from there the team had no reaction. And obviously when you give the silly goal that we have get away the second one, then the team collapsed and the team had no answers.
What do you think was the biggest thing missing from your team today?
When you got like that, it goes down to the duels, and they were better than that on that. And the moment that they score the goal and you have to be even more aggressive and take some chances, they use those spaces really well, and we got punished.
And does that all come down to mentality?
It's difficult to say that, and I would defend always my players, so the first responsible is always is me.
How difficult is it for you, though, to find the balance between obviously supporting your players, but also being disappointed and not accepting, as you said, particularly that second half? Is there anger there?
I think that's, after a defeat like this at home, I think you have to make the analysis to yourself and individually first before looking at anybody else, and I think that's what we have to do.
How much do you think it was a case today that Brighton were very good and you were really not yourselves?
Brighton were really good when we become really poor. Before that, it was game on, the game that we expected, and the game that we played the same away there, but we were very efficient, especially after recovering the ball in the final third to score the goals, and today we weren't. So when you don't do that and you made the mistakes that we made, obviously you lose the game. Having got yourselves in such a fantastic position, how difficult is it to accept, and how low do you feel right now? I don't know, but if the team is able to do that, obviously it's something that we have to address. But you have to do a lot of good things, incredible things, to be second in this way that we've done it for 10 months. But if the team is able to show that face as well, for sure there are things that have to be addressed. Do you feel today you just fell short, whether it be mentally, physically, or in terms of numbers that you've got? I don't know. It's just we had the numbers, we had some injuries, but we cannot look at any excuse. I think we have to look individually first, and on Tuesday we can talk about it. Thanks, Mikel. Thank you.
His disappointment, totally understandable. But he started there, Righty, by saying it's not acceptable. We have to apologise. Is there anything to apologise for?
I think I quite like his honesty when he's come out there, simply because for that team and the young team, we always emphasise how young they are. And like you mentioned, you know, top of the league for 10 months, wherever it is, how long they've been top of the league. You do feel that a performance like that out of nowhere against a Brighton side that they've probably been very versed on was, like he said, unacceptable. I wasn't expecting that, especially after City had just beaten Everton really comfortably. You're expecting Arsenal at home to come out and really put Brighton, not to the sword, but put them under the kind of pressure that Arsenal have done to teams this season. So as then you can then get the goal, then the second goal, then you can be comfortable in the game. We was nowhere near that. And like he rightly asked was, you know, and it was interesting to see his answer to it when he said about, was it Brighton were very good or you were very bad? And he's saying, well, we were very bad. But the fact is that, especially in this league, if you're that bad and a team like Brighton, who are playing well anyway, they're going to beat you comfortably. You can't sleep in this league on anyone. Any team will cause you a problem. We saw that not too long ago against Southampton, who were bottom of the league, who've now been relegated, came there and were beating us 3-1. So you've got to know the kind of performances that you're going to have to put in when you get to this stage of the season, trying to challenge to win the league.
What was the percentage view today between Brighton being brilliant and Arsenal being way off it?
I would honestly say, I think, overall in the game, I'd say Brighton were probably at 70%. Like, better. Arsenal were on the 30%. But it's only because, I think, like Arteta said, they didn't give them time to play any nice passages of football. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 passes majority of the time, and then there was a foul, or then the ball got gave away, and Brighton pounced on that and played their game. So I think, like Dad said, the Zerbi's tactics today was spot on. He made it really uncomfortable for Arsenal, didn't let them get settled and play the way they wanted to play, and then played the way he wanted to play, and a lot of the times played the way they wouldn't normally play, but they thought it was the correct tactic for today, and it worked.
You know what, as well, Sean, you have to say that to a certain extent, the referee, especially in these, was really quick to book Mikel Arteta for whatever was going on the line, but like, what was it, 17 fouls and that before?
Stuff, yeah.
I think that he wasn't in control of that game, and the reason why Mikel brought up the fouls and the game that couldn't get the game going because of the fouls, because of the niggly nature of the game, is because the referee didn't have any control of the game. That game, we're still in the entertainment business. The referee's meant to see that as something like, I've got to make sure this game runs its course and plays out. I'm not saying, it has to play out for us, it has to play out for Brighton as well. But Brighton and the way they played, the fouls that were committed from Arsenal and Brighton should have been dealt with better by the referee, because, like I say, he let so many things go, but then he was quick to book Mikel Arteta. Whereas that game could have flowed a lot better had he refereed it a lot better, because I thought he was poor today.
And Arsenal had the fewest possession since January 2022 when Manchester City dominated them. So almost 18 months since they've had that percentage of possession in a game.
And well, I wouldn't say it surprises me in respects of that. I would say that in respects of them being at home. But in general, I think a lot of people underestimate how good Brighton are at controlling
especially
games.
Today.
Honestly, I remember, I think it was last season, I asked Lukaku, what was it like playing against Brighton? Because I actually watched the game. He said, I've never run so much and not touched the ball. So they've been doing that for a long time. But to go to Arsenal while Arsenal's been playing the way they have this whole season and do that shows you how far Brighton have come, how confident they are, how brave they are, the chances that they was taking still, and the back four at times. Me and Dad were like, he's going to get it, and then it just gets through, and then they beat the press. So you have to be a brave set of players to take those risks.
Let's remind everyone, Manchester City fans watching in particular, of where we're up to now then, in terms of not just the race, but of course when it can be sealed. 4-point difference, City with 3 to play, Arsenal with 2 to play. So all eyes now on next weekend. Simple bit, if Arsenal lose at Nottingham Forest after the defeat today, then Manchester City will be confirmed champions on Saturday night. If Arsenal draw and then Manchester City avoid defeat on the Sunday, they'll be champions. And remember, Manchester City are at home to Frank Lampard's Chelsea. If Arsenal follow a win and then City win as well, then City's 5th title in 6 years will be confirmed at the Etihad on Sunday. Either way, do you expect that trophy to be presented at the Etihad now next Sunday?
Yeah, been thinking it for a while. But
have you now?
Yeah.
You kept that under your hat?
Yeah, I have to respect my dad. He's my dad after all. So, yeah, I just believed, I think, like Dad said, the 3 games, when you draw 3 games like that in a title race, and City are playing the way they are playing, where they're not drawing, they're just winning. You can't see any other end result, really.
But from Arsenal now, they've just got to do their bit. As Mikel Arteta said, it's how we respond. It's very difficult when you just lost the title to try and win at Forest, and at least.
Yeah, that's all you can do. I just want people to understand how great the season's been. You mustn't forget that the disappointment is real. Don't get me wrong, absolutely it is, because you get so close to the mountaintop, then you have to come back down. But the fact is, we're trying to chase down City, and we go again. We have to, because that's how it works. City are doing what they're doing. They're on their quest, their journey. You know what I mean? We see they could end up with a treble this season. But the main thing is that we've shown that we can go to that party and we can hang in that room. But like, the experience is what's going to keep us in there.
OK, well, surprising people this season as well have been Brighton. They're up to 6th with 4 games to play this evening. Here's their manager, Roberto De Zerbi.
Many congratulations. Only the 2nd team to get a win here at the Emirates this season, other than Manchester City. What does this mean to you into the top 6 and looking very good for Europe now?
I'm really pleased for the performance. It's not finished yet for us, the Premier League. We are fighting for a big result, big target, and we have to win another, I don't know how many games, but the points on the table are not enough.
It was a very physical start to the encounter. Were you very surprised with that clash with Martinelli?
I'm sorry because football is good when it's nice when you compete against big players, no? I'm sorry for Martinelli, really, sincerely. But I think we played a fantastic game and we deserve to win today. It was a very tough week because after defeat with Everton, were 3-4 days very tough, very bad, and today we showed character, we showed passion, we showed we are serious people.
You certainly showed you were serious people. Talk us through the goals and which more impressed you, because they were beautiful, but they just showed the brilliance of your young side.
Dei gol molto belli che hanno dimostrato quanto i tuoi giocatori giovani siano importanti.
I have to repeat, I'm lucky to be the coach of Brighton. I have a lot of great players. I think we have to improve in mentality. We have to adapt to playing many games in a row, many plays in many games per week. But after that, I think we are a great team.
He thinks they're a great team. There'll be few that disagree with that. Let's not forget Graham Potter, the manager, was lost by Brighton. This fella arrived. A lot of people said, who? 45 points from a possible 84. Didn't know the country, didn't know the league. Just put into context what he has done for Brighton since he arrived.
Well, I'm quite pleased for him because obviously, you know, we know that he moved around a bit in Italy. I think it was something like 5 jobs or something, whatever it was. But you know, he's learning on each one of those journeys. And you know, you come to the Premier League, and we heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, he hasn't got the experience, he hasn't got this, he hasn't got that." But I think that when you're in a league situation in any country, whether you're at the bottom, the middle, or the top, you're getting experience of what you need to do. And obviously, if you're a coach, that you've got the, you know, you've got the people around you, that the analytical skills, the tactical stuff, and you've got the experience of what you've been through in certain situations, in certain leagues. You're going to be able to go somewhere with the right players, and the structure at Brighton, with everything what they're doing at Brighton, is the perfect place for someone like him to go to, and he's proven that because he's obviously a very good coach, good backroom team, good people upstairs at Brighton, and they just let him get on with coaching and doing what he's done. And now we're seeing somebody that is very much going to be a sought-after coach. And
a man management as well. It was fascinating when we were talking live to Jason Steele to hear about the playing of the Michael Jordan videos last night before this game and the response he wanted after those 5 goals against Everton.
It's an interesting story, I think, because...
you associate that with a British coach more than perhaps at times?
No, because when I was at Chelsea, Avram Grant did it to us. I think his timing that he did it, I would say, in a way was wrong, because it was almost like we was pulling into the stadium and then he would put it in. So we didn't have time to like buy into it, understand it. Whereas Still basically said the night before they watched this video to kind of, so they could absorb it and they got to grips with it. And it, to be honest, it showed in their performance. The passion they showed against Arsenal compared to Everton was night and day. I couldn't believe how well they did it. And it works for some and some it doesn't, but he seems to get them to buy into whatever he puts on the table. And that is key to becoming a good manager for me.
Yeah, they've still got some big games left. Their Thursdays is huge at home to Newcastle. Then Manchester City, who might already be champions by then. If they could secure a top 6 finish, where would that be in terms of team's achievements in this remarkable season?
Then he's probably got to be definitely got to be in the running for...
Never finished higher than 9th in their history, remember?
He's got to be in the running for Manager of the Year in respects of what he's done at Brighton. You know, there's a few that be in there. I'll probably put Gary O'Neill in there as well, Eddie Howe. You know, Mikel's done brilliantly as well, but like, you know, you have to put him up there because it must be quite daunting. He's still learning the language. You can see he's doing brilliantly well, and I think that's something that we underestimate, how well these guys do with a second or third language, and he's getting his message across. So, you know, you have to say it's an unbelievable achievement up to this point what he's doing. So you just hoping that he can, because he's probably going to lose a few players at some stage. Yeah, and then you see where he goes. But you see that he's a very good coach, and you hope that he continues to get success.
And remember, Sean, Brighton have never played in Europe in their history.
Wow, it's the first time for everything. And honestly, the way that crowd is set up, they will relish it, and I think the players will. Yeah, they will thrive on it.
What a day. Now, just one more question. You two still going for a drink?
I'm not. I can't. I got. I think I left the iron on this morning. I left the iron on, so I've got to go and turn the iron off.
Thank you for your company, gentlemen. What a pivotal day with the top two in the Premier League. A 6-point swing. Manchester City now only need a maximum of 3 more points for a 5th title in 6 seasons. From the three of us, we'll see you soon.